Do you ever have a project that just wasn't quite going right and it absolutely becomes a mission to find out why and what the problem is? That's what's happening with this Ender 3 V2 printer I have from Creality. I've been going through main boards, burns them out right away. We're going to find out why coming up. I'm Roger, welcome to the shop, and the saga continues with the Creality Ender 3 V2 3D printer I bought. Long story on it. Ended up actually getting a refund for it because of the bizarre things that went on with the different customer services between Creality and Banggood, and Banggood's where I bought it. I did finally get a refund for it. I had to send in the defective mainboard and the extruder to Banggood, which I did, and then I got a refund. So what I did then was I bought another mainboard for the Ender 3 V2 with the correct firmware, correct board and everything, and another extruder. I think sure the extruder works fine. After about 20 minutes, and if you watch the previous video of me playing with this thing, the mainboard went out again. So I can't hardly believe I got two bad mainboards. I'm thinking something may be causing that mainboard to fail, and that would be electrical. And the electrical is what is my specialty. I was over 40 years in the electrical trade in everything from electronics to computer science, programming, high voltage relay protection. In fact, I still do high voltage relay protection and power quality analysis as a consultant for the company I used to work for. So I'm familiar with this type of stuff. I'm very good at troubleshooting when you get into the electronics, and that's what I am going to do today, is try to find out what is causing these mainboards to fail. Whether I'll be successful or not, who knows, but 99% of the time I do find the problem. So here we go. I'm going to go upstairs to the loft above the shop here and start doing some troubleshooting. Taking some process meters up there and see what I can find out. Oh, and before I go up there, I'll add one other thing. I did order another mainboard to have something to play with this printer after I find out what the problem is. And I bought another Ender 3 V2 printer. So maybe this one I've got's a lemon. If it is, I'll have some spare parts. But I did buy another printer because there's thousands and thousands of these in use all over the world. I just happen to have one that has some serious problems. So therefore I bought another one. And when that gets here sometime later this week, I'll put it together and take off with it. And I really hope I don't have any problems with that one. Okay, now up to the loft. Okay, after a whole bunch of putzing around, which I didn't record because it wouldn't have made any sense to most people, but I put the process meter on the power supply and turned it on several times, and most of the time we had 24 volts. This has a peak read on it, and one time it went to 77 volts before it dropped back down to 24. So I figured, well, it must be the power supply. So I tried it a few more times, and every once in a while it would overshoot that 24 volts by anywhere from 20 to 50 volts more than it should have been. So I changed out the mainboard again, and I am not connected to the power supply that is in the unit. I'm going to have to be replacing that. What I am connected to, a little portable supply I have here that does 24, 15, 5, and it's for electronics. So I'm connected to that, and obviously it does not have the capacity to run the hot end and the bed heater and all that, but it is enough to boot up that mainboard. And now I have a display again. So I need to order myself a power supply, and I believe I will have another working printer. And this will be in addition to the new one that I just bought, which will be here in a few days. So now I'll have two of them to play with. This is a little after the fact edit. I got to thinking about this after I'd already shot the video of troubleshooting this printer and the power supply. and I need to go into a few details for anybody that's going to try to do this on your own. I did this with a Fluke 787. This is a process meter. It has recording capability of recording minimum and maximum, and I can record it in real time. With a standard multimeter, you may not catch that voltage spike on startup. This here is not something everybody's going to have. This is about $1,000 to buy new. I use this in the trade as an electrician, electrical engineer, so therefore I already had it. Originally I was using just a basic multimeter to check the voltages, and I had a constant 24.2, but what I was not able to catch was on that startup, the inrush. Well, I shouldn't really call it an inrush. It's an overshoot of the voltage, and I would imagine there's something wrong with the voltage regulator inside the power supply itself. I haven't taken the power supply apart. They're not that expensive. I'm not going to fiddle around with trying to fix that. I'll just get another one. But I thought I'd put this in there because if you're using, just your basic homeowner type multimeter and you're trying to watch that voltage, when it starts up, you may very well miss if it overshoots. And it doesn't do it every time. I had to fiddle with this constantly, turning it on and off, and I'd say out of 15 times, 3 times I had an overvoltage. The other times it just come right up to the 24.2 and stayed there. Those other 3 times it would vary, and with the highest being up there, 70 to 85 volts. Even for that little instant, taking that to the board is going to damage it, because that board is not designed, I'm sure, with a over voltage protection. It does have an overcurrent protection. There is a fuse on it, and it did not blow the fuse. That was one of the things I checked. There's also an LED, a blue LED on the main board. If you have the base open like I did there, and you do not see that LED, either you don't have the voltage or the board's already burned out. And that's what happened with this last board. When I first put it in, first turned it on, I had the blue LED, we're all good to go. I heated up the nozzle, removed my filament, my other filament back in. When I went to turn it back on, I had nothing again. When I opened it up and looked, the LED was not lighting up on the board. The fuse was not blown, but my power supply showed 24.2 volts, which is where it should be. So this got me to thinking, okay, something burned that board out, and after thinking about it overnight, that's where I came up with the conclusion there has to be something in that power supply. Hence getting out the process meter and constantly cycling that on without it being attached to the new main board, because I certainly don't want to burn out another one. And this is where I finally found out what the problem was. So there's a little edit, hint, tip, advice, whatever, from an electrician on how to troubleshoot a power supply, the output of it, without getting into the internals. You're just checking the output. Okay, that's all I had. Quick edit. Okay, well, I think I have the problem solved. I'll be ordering another power supply, obviously using that little aux supply and the other main board. I'm not going to chance my main board number 3 on that power supply again, so I'm going to be ordering another one. Previously, when I was checking voltage on my first round of troubleshooting with the first 2 boards, I was checking after the thing was on, and yeah, I had 24 volts there. What I had not done was check to see what happened when the thing actually started up. And for the voltage to overshoot that much, I could see why it would take the board out. So, another discovery. If you got anything out of this, or if you were having these type of problems with your printer, whether it be the Ender 3V2 or one of the other 3D printers, or anything electronics where you have unexplained failures, this might be something to check. And if you did get something out of that, appreciate getting a thumbs up. It helps the channel. And as the saga continues here, I will be updating you with the next new printer, which is on the way. And once I get a power supply, I'll get that in there and we'll go back to this printer. So hopefully eventually I'll have 2 of these to play with. Wasn't planned that way, but it's kind of the way it's turning out. So otherwise, I'm Roger in the shop. See you in the next one.